All right, get ready because we're taking a deep dive into Snowflake's third quarter earnings release for fiscal year 2025. It's earnings season. And Snowflake, the AI data cloud company, just released their report. So we're going to unpack the key numbers, revenue, earnings, guidance, all that, and see what they reveal about, where Snowflake's headed and the broader data world in general. And believe me, there are some really interesting things in here. Did you know that their product revenue hit, get this, a cool $900 million this quarter? So let's find out how they did that.
Yeah, I think what's interesting is that this sustained growth, it's happening in a market that is completely obsessed with data and AI solutions. So, it shows that Snowflake is really tapping into something big here.
Okay, so let's break it down. Their product revenue hit $900.3 million. That's a 29% jump compared to last year. Total revenue landed at $942.1 million, a 28% increase. And get this, their remaining performance obligations, or RPO, surged to $5.7 billion, a whopping 55% increase. Now, for those who aren't familiar with RPO, it's basically a backlog of contracted revenue. It's kind of like a sneak peek into Snowflake's future earnings. It means customers are committing to Snowflake for the long haul.
Yeah, that RPO number really jumps out at you, doesn't it? It suggests, a very strong and healthy financial outlook for Snowflake. It seems like customers are not just dipping their toes in the water, they're diving right in.
So now let's talk about their guidance. What is Snowflake predicting for the rest of the fiscal year?
So for Q4 of fiscal year 2025, they're projecting product revenue between $906 and $911 million. And that translates to like a 23% year-over-year growth. And for the full fiscal year 2025, they're expecting product revenue to reach $3.43 billion. That's a 29% jump from last year. They're also targeting a non-GAAP product gross profit margin of 76% and a non-GAAP operating income margin of 5% for the full fiscal year.
Okay, so they're aiming for healthy growth while keeping an eye on profitability. I mean, that's a good sign, especially in this economic climate. What's really interesting to me is their projected non-GAAP adjusted free cash flow margin of 26% for the year. This suggests that Snowflake is, it's a cash-generating machine, which they can reinvest in future growth and innovation.
Absolutely. This projection suggests they're finding a nice balance between, expansion and focus on the bottom line, right? Something that investors always like to see.
Now let's talk customer metrics. They have 542 customers generating over $1 million in product revenue annually. That's a 25% increase. And they've also kind of broken into the big leagues with 754 Forbes Global 2000 companies as customers. That's a pretty impressive list.
Yeah, you see those customer numbers, right? That's not just happening by chance. It's fueled by Snowflake's unique ability to handle all kinds of data, structured, unstructured, you name it. So they're like a one-stop shop for businesses that are really struggling with these, data silos. Remember that time you lost your car keys? Data silos are kind of like that, except instead of keys, it's like crucial business information buried under a mountain of disorganized data. So Snowflake is helping companies break free from all that chaos.
So they're providing a solution to a real pain point.
Yeah.
Which explains why companies are not only choosing Snowflake, but also expanding their usage over time. And their net revenue retention rate of 127% definitely confirms that. Existing customers are spending significantly more year over year. It's like they're getting hooked on the Snowflake platform.
Yeah, they're not just hooked, they're becoming advocates. And that high retention rate shows just how sticky Snowflake's platform really is, once companies experience the ease of use and the power of a, unified data platform, they don't want to go back to the old ways of doing things.
It seems like Snowflake is strategically positioning itself in this, increasingly data-driven world. Their CEO, Sridhar Ramaswamy, he emphasized their focus on product cohesion and ease of use, which makes sense given their, expanding customer base. They're trying to make working with data as painless as possible.
Think of it this way. Snowflake's trying to become like the Switzerland of the data world.
Yeah.
Neutral, secure, and welcoming to all. They're not just building a platform, they're building a whole ecosystem.
Yeah. They're addressing a key challenge for organizations, data silos. Remember that slide in their presentation titled, "Every Organization Struggles with Silos"? It's true. Companies are tired of their data being scattered across different systems, making it hard to get a clear, comprehensive view. So Snowflake is offering them a single platform to kind of rule them all, one that can handle all these diverse data types and formats, whether it's in the cloud or on-premise.
What's fascinating here is that Snowflake isn't limiting themselves to a specific type of data architecture. They're supporting data warehouses, data lakes, even these data mesh approaches. So this flexibility is a big draw for organizations that are, trying to navigate the ever-changing world of data. They're not forcing anyone into a box. They're offering a platform that adapts to the way you work.
And they're not limiting themselves to certain users either. Their platform supports, various programming languages and tools. So it caters to everyone, from data scientists to business analysts. They're creating a space where everyone can collaborate and extract value from data. It's like they're democratizing data access.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. By lowering the barriers to entry, Snowflake is really opening up the world of data to a wider audience. And I think this accessibility is a big part of their appeal.
Yeah, but this raises an interesting question. How sustainable is this growth? I mean, the data landscape is getting pretty crowded, right?
Yeah.
With, all these established cloud providers like Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, and Google Cloud Platform, all kind of vying for a piece of the pie. It's a bit of a David and Goliath situation here.
Sure, they've got some stiff competition. But Snowflake has, a few key advantages, I think. First, their platform is incredibly user-friendly and scalable, which is crucial for organizations that are dealing with these massive data sets and complex analytics. Second, their cloud-agnostic approach. It gives customers the freedom to choose their preferred cloud provider, so they're avoiding vendor lock-in. They're not trying to trap anyone. They're playing nice with everyone.
And let's not forget about their impressive partner ecosystem. They've got collaborations with major players in the tech industry, expanding their reach and strengthening their offerings. They're building bridges, not walls.
Exactly. Their partner ecosystem is key, especially as they move deeper into the AI space. Their vision of this AI data cloud, where data and AI seamlessly integrate, it requires collaboration with AI technology providers, data providers, application developers. It's like they're orchestrating this symphony of data and AI.
And they're seeing good traction with their AI data cloud strategy, according to their metrics. 36% of their customers are already actively sharing data and collaborating. And their Snowflake Marketplace, which hosts data, applications, and AI models, has seen a 26% year-over-year growth in listings, with almost 3,000 listings now available. It's like a, bustling data bazaar.
Yeah, their commitment to data sharing and marketplace growth is really smart. It creates this network effect where more data and applications attract more users and vice versa. It's like a virtuous cycle that can fuel their long-term growth.
Yeah, and their presentation had this really cool visual representation of their AI data cloud's growth. They were comparing their network activity from April 2020 to October 2024. The difference was mind-blowing, showing this massive increase in connections and data flows. It's like watching a time-lapse video of a flower blooming, except instead of petals, it's data insights.
Yeah, that visual really drove home the point, didn't it? Their AI data cloud. It's rapidly evolving into this central hub for data-driven insights and AI applications. It's no longer just about storing and analyzing data. It's about creating this dynamic data-powered ecosystem.
So is Snowflake's success just a matter of being in the right place at the right time? Or are they truly building something unique?
Well, they're definitely riding the wave of data and AI, but I think they're doing more than just surfing. They're actively shaping the future with their platform, their partnerships, and their vision. Their focus on ease of use, scalability, and flexibility, it resonates with organizations. And their commitment to an open ecosystem is fostering collaboration and innovation. So they're creating this playground where, everyone can play and win.
All right, before we move on, there's one more fascinating thing I want to highlight from their presentation. They had a slide showing their revenue mix by geography. And the Americas are still their strongest market, bringing in a whopping 79% of their revenue. EMEA contributes 16%, and APJ brings in 5%. Seems like there's still a huge untapped potential globally.
That's a great point. As they expand internationally, we might see those regional contributions shift. So their global growth strategy will be something to watch closely in future earnings reports. Who knows? Maybe one day they'll be the Google of the data world, dominating every corner of the globe.
Okay, let's pause here for a second and bring it back to you, the listener. What are the key takeaways from all this, and what should you be watching for as Snowflake continues its journey?
I think, first, keep an eye on their customer growth, especially among those high-value million-dollar customers, and their expansion into new regions. Second, pay attention to how their AI data cloud strategy evolves and the impact of their partnerships. And lastly, don't forget to track their financial performance, especially their margins and cash flow as they balance, growth and profitability. It's a delicate dance. But so far, they're nailing it.
Yeah, it sounds like we've got a lot to unpack as Snowflake navigates this, dynamic data landscape. So we'll continue our deep dive into Snowflake in just a moment, where we'll explore the potential risks and challenges they might face, as well as what the future holds. Stay tuned.
Snowflake might be on a roll right now, but we gotta be real. There could be some bumps in the road ahead. Even the most, promising tech companies face challenges.
Yeah, true. Every success story has its,
Yeah.
obstacles. What are some things that could potentially slow Snowflake down?
Well, one challenge is the competition in the data cloud market. You've got these big players like Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud Platform, all with tons of resources and a wide range of services. They're like the veterans in this data world, and they're not going to just give up their market share easily.
Right, it's like a classic underdog story. But what can Snowflake do to, hold their own against these giants?
Well, I think their agility and focus are key advantages. While the big cloud providers are like these, sprawling empires, Snowflake is laser focused on data warehousing, data lakes, and the AI data cloud. They're the specialists, the masters of their domain. And this allows them to innovate quickly and really cater to the specific needs of data-driven organizations. It's like, a small, nimble speedboat maneuvering around those massive cargo ships.
So they're not trying to be everything to everyone, just the best at what they do. Makes sense. Are there other challenges they need to address beyond just the competition?
Yeah, scaling a company rapidly can be tricky. You can run into operational complexities and strain your internal resources. Snowflake needs to make sure that their hiring, onboarding, and communication can keep up with their growth. It's like trying to, build a rocket ship while it's already blasting off.
Yeah, growing pains, as they say.
Yeah.
We've seen plenty of companies stumble when they expand too quickly, so they need to make sure they don't lose control.
Absolutely. And then there's cybersecurity. As a platform that handles sensitive data for major organizations, they're a prime target for attacks. It's like,
Yeah.
having Fort Knox full of gold and just hoping no one tries to break in. So they have to keep investing in security and stay ahead of those threats.
Right, because data breaches can be disastrous, both financially and in terms of reputation. It's like building a beautiful house on a shaky foundation. One crack, and the whole thing crumbles.
Exactly. And let's not forget about the ever-changing data privacy regulations. GDPR, CCPA, they're getting stricter. And Snowflake needs to make sure their platform complies with these rules across different regions and industries. It's like playing a global game of data chess, where the rules keep changing depending on where you are.
Yeah, navigating all of those legal complexities can be a real headache. You need a whole team of experts just to figure it all out.
Right. And then there's the wild card of economic downturns. When budgets get tight, companies often cut back on the nice-to-haves, and sometimes, data initiatives fall into that category.
It's like that moment when you have to tighten your belt.
Yeah.
And suddenly those, fancy lattes don't seem so essential anymore.
Exactly. Now, you might think Snowflake's consumption-based model would help them during a downturn. It's like a pay-as-you-go phone plan. Use more, pay more, use less, pay less. But even with that flexibility, a big drop in overall consumption could still impact their revenue.
Right, it's a balancing act between attracting those cost-conscious customers and keeping that revenue engine going. So given all these challenges, what's your outlook for Snowflake in the next few years? Are they going to keep soaring, or are there storm clouds on the horizon?
Well, despite those potential bumps in the road, I'm optimistic. I think Snowflake is addressing a real need. Their platform is top-notch, and they have a strong leadership team. They've got the right ingredients for continued success.
Yeah, they seem to be doing well. But what about the bigger picture? How might Snowflake's growth change the data landscape? Are they going to be a disruptor, a trendsetter, or just another player in the game?
I think they have the potential to really change the game. Their success could accelerate the adoption of cloud-based data platforms and lead to a shift away from those older, on-premises solutions. It's like the shift from horse-drawn carriages to automobiles. Once people experience the speed and efficiency of the new technology, there's no going back.
So they could be leading the way toward a more connected and collaborative data world.
Exactly. And their focus on AI could really boost the development and use of AI applications across industries. Imagine a world where AI is just built into everything, helping us make smarter decisions, automating processes, unlocking new insights. Snowflake is positioning themselves to be a major player in that future.
Okay, so let's bring it back to our listeners again. What are the key things they should be watching for as Snowflake moves forward? What are the signs of continued success? And what might signal trouble?
I'd say keep an eye on their customer acquisition rate, especially those big clients. How quickly are they getting those million-dollar accounts? And how is their revenue mix by geography changing? Are they making progress in those new markets? Those are good indicators of, market penetration, and global reach.
And of course, we can't ignore the financial side of things. Revenue growth, margins, cash flow, those are the vital signs we need to monitor to see if they can keep the momentum going. It's like checking the gauges on a race car as it goes through a tough course.
Absolutely. And beyond just the numbers, pay attention to their product announcements and partnerships. Are they staying ahead of the curve with new features? Are they making alliances that strengthen their position in the data and AI world? Those are signs of a company that's not just resting on their success, they're thinking long term.
Yeah, it's like watching a master chess player, always thinking several moves ahead. But, there's this one big question that I keep thinking about. We've talked about Snowflake's potential, their vision, their challenges. But here's the real puzzle. If data is the new oil, is Snowflake on its way to becoming the ExxonMobil of the data age? Are they building an empire based on data?
Now, that's a really interesting question. It's a bold comparison, but it really highlights the incredible value of data and the potential for companies like Snowflake to become major forces in the data-driven economy.
Think about it. ExxonMobil built their empire by extracting, refining, and distributing oil. Could Snowflake do the same with data, becoming the essential infrastructure for this data-powered world we live in? They're already providing the tools for storing, analyzing, and sharing data. Could they become the, indispensable pipeline for the data economy?
That's a really thought-provoking idea. It'll be fascinating to see what happens. But I think we've covered a lot in this deep dive so far. We've looked at their financials, their strategy, their challenges, their potential. Hopefully our listeners have a much better understanding of Snowflake now.
Yeah.
And their role in shaping the future of data and AI.
Yeah, we've definitely given them a lot to think about. But our deep dive isn't over yet. When we come back, we'll explore some of the qualitative aspects that don't always show up in the spreadsheets and earnings reports. Stay with us. Welcome back to our deep dive on Snowflake. We've talked about their impressive growth, their ambitious plans, and some of the hurdles they might face.
Now, let's switch gears a bit and look at some things that aren't always reflected in the numbers. It's like going beyond the balance sheet and peeking into Snowflake's, soul.
Okay, I like that. So what are those less tangible things that could affect Snowflake's future? What's their secret sauce, so to speak?
Well, company culture is a big one. They've built a reputation for innovation, agility, and being customer-focused. And maintaining that as they grow is really important. It's like, it's like a garden. You need the right soil, sunlight, and care for those plants to thrive.
Right, so they have to keep nurturing that culture if they want to attract the best talent and stay ahead of the curve.
Exactly. They can't afford to, rest on their laurels. Another key factor is their ability to adapt. The data and AI world is constantly changing, and Snowflake needs to be quick and responsive. Like a surfer, you got to adjust to the waves to stay afloat.
Yeah, they can't just ride the same wave forever. They need to anticipate what's next.
Right. And they also need to communicate their message effectively. The data market is crowded and complex, so Snowflake needs to clearly explain their value in a way that resonates with potential customers. It's like finding a signal in all the noise.
Yeah, cut through the clutter, make their message stand out.
Precisely. And then there's corporate social responsibility. As a data-driven company, Snowflake has to handle data ethically and responsibly. Data privacy, algorithmic bias, the impact of AI on society, these are all things they need to consider. It's a lot of power. And with great power comes great responsibility.
Absolutely. Data can be used for good or bad. They need to make sure they're on the right side of that.
Absolutely. And we can't forget about sustainability. As they grow and their data centers use more energy, Snowflake needs to prioritize eco-friendly practices. They need to grow responsibly without leaving a big carbon footprint. It's like building a house, right? You want to use sustainable materials and energy-efficient designs.
Right. It's not just about building a successful business. It's about building a sustainable future.
Well said. And lastly, let's not overlook the human element. Snowflake's success depends on their people. They need to empower their employees, foster a sense of purpose, create a workplace where people can thrive. It's like, an orchestra. You need talented musicians and a conductor who can bring out the best in them.
So it's about creating an environment where people feel valued, inspired, and empowered to do their best work.
Exactly. So as we wrap up our deep dive here, what are your main takeaways?
Well, I'm really struck by Snowflake's ambition and potential. They're not just trying to be a successful company. They're trying to, transform the entire data landscape. They want to give organizations the tools to really harness the power of data and AI. It's a pretty bold vision.
It is. They're definitely aiming high. And they have a solid foundation. But the journey's not over yet. The next few years will be crucial for their long-term success.
It's been amazing to explore their earnings, their vision, and their place in the industry. Hopefully our listeners now have a deeper understanding of Snowflake and the forces shaping this data-driven world.
We've given them a lot to think about. As they follow Snowflake's journey, they should keep an eye on both the numbers and the less tangible aspects. The numbers tell part of the story. But the people, the culture, the ethical considerations, those are just as important. It's all of those things together that will determine their ultimate success.
Well said. And that brings us to the end of our deep dive into Snowflake. We hope you found it insightful and informative, maybe even a little inspiring. We'll be back soon with another deep dive into a new and exciting topic. Until then, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.